All right, everybody, you know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. Bam! Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. It's been a wild start to our show. There's been a lot going on behind the scenes. It's been crazy, absolutely crazy. And we are running a little bit behind schedule, but that's okay because we're finally on the air and we're going to make it do what it do because, as you know, as the story says, the show must go on. So we're going to make sure the show goes on anywho and anyhow. Remember, we appreciate you and ask you to please follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. Again, that's Real Talk Sports 7. Find us anywhere on social media. That includes the following location. That's on Facebook. That is on X. That is on Twitch. That is on anywhere and everywhere that you can tune in on social media. You can find us even on Instagram. We are there as well. So again, we appreciate those of you who have done it already. Now I have some more good news. And I will tell you right now, we don't have our normal slick set. We got the green screen thing working and the light's a little hazy, but like I said, again, we're going to make it do what it do as best we can in this lumpy situation. But like I said, again, we'll make it do what it do. I'm going to pop on the screen now. Please don't run away. You might just put me on just audio only, but here we be. As again, like I said, again, we had some type of system failure. I'm not sure what it is. I'm still not sure exactly what's happened, but nevertheless, my microphone decided it's not going to work on my computer. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it said, good news, I'm not going to work at all. So nevertheless, I had to go to my iPad to try to get on the air and get the show cranking. But like I said, again, we are here. We appreciate all those of you who have tuned in to join us here on the broadcast. Now, a lot of stuff going on, as it is always in the world of sports. We got in every single sport, it seems like that's playing, there's something going on that's great, something going on that's good. So first of all, we have high school football, lots of stuff going on in that. We're going to have some great games this weekend coming up. We also have history being made in real time in the WNBA with Asia Wilson. And of course, we know what Caitlin Clark has done this season, and also even Angel Reese, even though unfortunately, we will not be seeing any more Miss Reese this particular year because she's out with an injury, for those of you who don't know, but she will not be playing for the rest of the year. Very, very sadly, she has an injury and will not be with us. But nevertheless, she has made history in what she has done this year as well. So thankful for her and appreciate her. Also, we have the pennant race in full throttle. The Braves trying with everything they can to hang in there and hang on. This Brave team has been battered with injuries throughout the season. It's been very, very difficult to them. It really is a testament to the way this team has been shaped and formed for them to even be in the hunt. So the Bravos are battling back and forth, ironically, with their arch rivals, the New York Metropolitans. That's the official name for the Mets, the short for the Metropolitans. The Mets are, and the Braves are slugging it out here for that final wild card spot. So it's going to be tough sledding. Let's go ahead and look at the standings right now as we speak. The Mets have a 1-game lead over the Braves for that final wild card spot. The other ones, it would be almost impossible for them to catch the two teams in the West, that would be the Padres and the Diamondbacks. They both have a comfortable lead over the Braves at this particular time of about 3 games. I mean, anything can happen. I mean, baseball's funny. Going back over the years, we've seen teams, be down 4, 5, 6 games a week to play. Matter of fact, I saw it in real time myself many moons ago. The Boston Red Sox had a 14.5 game lead over the New York Yankees in August. The Yankees ended up catching them and actually taking a couple of game lead into September, the end of September, and the Red Sox actually caught them on the last day of the season to force a 1-game playoff, one of the greatest baseball games played. The Yankees ended up winning that 5-4 as Reggie Jackson hit a 2-run homer late to extend the Yankees lead to 5-2. Red Sox fought back, cut it to 5-4, had 2 men on the bottom of the ninth, but the legendary Hall of Fame pitcher Goose Gossett struck out another Hall of Famer, Carl Yastrzemski, and the Yankees went on to go to the World Series and eventually win it against the Dodgers for the second straight year in 1978. Second time they also beat the Dodgers. So, again, anything can happen. But right now, the Bravos are struggling, like I say again, 1 full game behind their arch rival, New York Metropolitans, as far as being able to get into that wild card spot. And really, at the end of the day, these teams don't care, because we saw the Braves last year have the best record in baseball, They were dominant. They were the most dominant team by far. Had the best record in baseball overall by, I think, 5 or 6 games. Didn't matter. Got in there and got swept by the Phillies. A lot of people talked about the fact because the Braves had to kind of just sit around, couldn't do anything. But at the end of the day, it was not so good for the Bravos, as they ended up getting out of there in the first round. So I'm just saying, guys, you just never know, how things are going to set up until you actually get there. So playoffs are very, very critical. I'd say you want to get in it, because you got to be in it to win it. And if you can at least get in it, you got a shot to make some things happen. So Bravos, again, still struggling, but hanging on. And right now, like I mentioned again, they are in the position of being just 1 game back of the New York Metropolitans, their arch rivals. Who they just, this has been going on for years with them. I'm trying to get my camera here straight, guys, so please bear with me. For those of you who are watching, and for those of you listening to this podcast, we're sorry that you guys can't see the visual. Like I said, again, it's been very frenetic for us this particular evening, because basically for some unknown reason, the StreamYard just crashed and the microphone wouldn't work at all. You could see me, but you couldn't hear me. So I'm not sure exactly what went on there, but like I said, again, the show must go on. So here we are. As I mentioned, talking about baseball, let's give you an idea of what's going on right now in the pennant races in Major League Baseball. As I mentioned, the Braves find themselves 1 game behind the Mets for that final wild card position. They're a total of 9 games out of first place. So that would not happen unless something, beyond the pale. If the Phillies were to lose like 9 straight and the Braves win 9 straight, that'd be the only way the Braves could catch the Phillies at this point, which is not going to happen. Meanwhile, if you look in the National League Central, the Brewers have a 10-game lead over the Cubs. So pretty much, the Brewers are in. They're already kind of punched their ticket. The Dodgers find themselves 3.5-game lead over in the West. They're in. Their ticket has been punched for sure. Padres and Diamondbacks, again, unless they both collapse and the Braves and the Mets go on some toward winning streak, they're both in. So that's how we got it right now, guys. The final remaining spot looks like it's going to be between the Mets and the Braves. Like I said, again, anything could happen, because both teams are about 3.5 games back behind the Diamondbacks. So, like I said, stranger things will happen. But right now, teams that we're going to look for in the NL would be the Phillies, the Brewers, the Dodgers, and the Padres look to be virtual locks to be in postseason this year. Meanwhile, in the American League, let's take a peek. Over the American League, the New York Yankees, led by the monster Aaron Judge, who's having a monster season this year. They're in first place, 3-game lead over the Orioles, and looking like it would be pretty much, the Yankees would have to kind of collapse there. They have a 3-game lead over the Orioles in the East. Meanwhile, in the American League Central, the team formerly known as the Cleveland Indians, now the Cleveland Guardians, find themselves in front by 5-game lead with the Royals. Pretty much that would be a wrap there. And over in the West, the Astros, these guys, as much as people don't like them because they're rumored to be cheaters, these Astros, man, they just keep balling out. They just keep finding a way to constantly be in postseason competition. And Jose Altuve, the little mighty giant, the tiny giant, this guy seems to be able to always find a way to make clutch plays, make the clutch hits in postseason. So the Astros, again, are virtually a lock to get in the American League. So here's how we got American League. Astros coming out of the West, out of the American League Central, the Guardians, and potentially the Royals. And in the East, Yankees and Orioles look like they're definitely in to get in the postseason play. So that's how it looks in baseball right now in the American and National Leagues. As like you said again, both leagues going down to the pennant race. Like I said, it's very expanded now, so you're going to get more individuals involved. Actually, more teams involved. So it's a lot different than it was back in the day. Keep in mind this, guys. This is really kind of crazy. So 30 years ago, you old minister. Yeah. So 30 years ago, the Braves and the Dodgers both won in excess of 100 games, and only one of them could get into the postseason play because back then you had the winner of the East versus the winner of the West. And it was a constant situation with the Braves and the Dodgers back in those days that they would battle out to see who would go. And a lot of times you only had those two teams and that's it. And if you go back even further, it used to be back in the early days before they had divisional play, you had a pennant race. That was it. You had one National League champion, and then whoever had the best record at the end of the year, they went on and played the American League champion. So they had no playoffs except the World Series. Isn't that crazy? So you had teams, winning 90, 100 games that had no shot for postseason play. So very, very interesting that the times have changed. Well, guys, like I said again, we have been kind of meandering our way through here, trying to make the best of it. And here's how we make it even better, guys. As you know, when we do this show, we bring on one of the most beautiful women in sports talk, radio, or TV. We simply know her as the Queen, Tree Dolman. Welcome back.
Hello, Jonathan. Hi, everyone.
How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Well, I'm actually feeling a little bit better. I'm actually on the air. For some reason, my microphone would not work. And they gave me all kind of instructions to try to reboot the microphone. They said, if it doesn't come on, do this. I did that. They said, if it doesn't come on, do this. They said, do this. And I said, you know what? I've had about enough of doing anything. So I had to go to my iPad because, as you know, the show must go on.
The show must go on.
Right. So anyway, we're talking a little bit about baseball, about the pennant race, and it's come down to the wire. Braves are hanging on by dear life, fighting it out with their arch rival, the New York Metropolitans, a.k.a. the Mets. Mets have a one-game lead for the final playoff spot in the National League. And so it's going to come down, I guess, to the wire to see which one of those teams ends up going. Here's what I look at this. You got to give a shout out to the Braves, no matter what happens, because this is a team that has lost 4 All-Stars off of their team. And the fact that they're still in the hunt is amazing.
Yeah, no, that is. Because that's hard to do when you lose 4 All-Stars.
4 All-Stars. And the reigning MVP. All gone. No Acuna. Ozzie Albies may get back for the last week of the season. No Austin Riley. All those guys are gone. And one of their key pitchers, I think, is Spencer Strider, all out. And all these guys were all-stars last year.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the fact that they're hanging in there and making it do what it do, you got to give a big shout out to the Bravos for, like I said, at least staying competitive. You got to love them.
Definitely.
And the other thing that's kind of interesting is how they seem to keep finding players literally I shouldn't say out of nowhere, but they find these guys and they just almost like they plug and play. And the crazy thing is they bring players back. They'll get rid of a player, the player signs someone else for more money. Also, the Braves, I want you to come on back. Like Jorge Soler, the guy was the hero of the 21 World Series. He's back. So, yeah, big shout out to Alex Anthopoulos, the Braves GM, for being able to kind of really, keep that team together. Big shout out to him. Well, now that we kind of rebooted, guys, in just a second, we're going to take a little break. But before we do that, as I mentioned, I'm going to put this on the screen for those of you who are watching. We're talking all the stuff that's going on. And right now, guys, for the WNBA, this has been a historical season. History is being made in the WNBA on multiple fronts. It's been incredible what these ladies have done. Like I said, again, now that we have the Queen back in and we're all ready to go, we're going to take a little bit of break and then we're going to come back and talk some WNBA and talk about history being made right in front of our eyes. You're watching and tuning into the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Thank you, and thank you.
Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net. Hey sports fans, tune in for live high school football Friday, 7:30 p.m. on realtalksports.net. Check out your favorite Metro Atlanta teams as they do battle on the gridiron. It's your high school game of the week, live streaming free Friday nights on realtalksports.net. For more sports coverage and great sports talk, catch the Real Talk Sports Show Tuesdays, 8 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch. Brought to you by Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, a business giving back to their community. Give them a call at 678-364-3979 or check them out online at allenvigilford.net.
All right, guys, we're back here. You're watching or listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and right next to me is the always lovely Queen, Ms. Twee Dolan. Well, you guys can kind of see in the background, for those of you who are watching, I'll pop it up on the screen again. We're talking about the history being made here in the WNBA this year, an absolutely epic season going on in the WNBA. And this young lady here, which we'll put her up in the middle of the screen in just a minute, she has made big-time history. I'm talking about the lovely Miss A'ja Wilson. Her and her two-time defending WNBA champion Aces are rolling along. They're not the top seed this year, but they are in the playoffs. And Miss Wilson, Tree, has broken a record. You know what she did?
Yeah, she's the first player in the WNBA to score 1,000 points in a single season.
Hey! How about that?
That's phenomenal.
It really is. That's incredible. I mean, just explain to people, if you can, just a little bit, how hard it is to score 1,000 points in a season. You know, and you're only talking how the season is not like the NBA. It's not 82 games, right? It's a lot shorter.
No, they only play a few months. So the WNBA and the NBA completely different, and it is very tough to do. And that's what I'm saying. She is the only player to ever do it. It's never been done in the
Never
history.
been done.
Which this is we're in season 27, I believe.
I think so. Yep.
I think it's season 27. So in 27 years, it has never been done. She is the first and only player to ever do so. And let me tell you, if you do not follow the WNBA, when we talk about hustle, defense, listen, it's not easy to score points in the WNBA at all. So for her to actually do that, and the season isn't even over, we're close to the playoffs, but for her to do this and to be the first to ever do it speaks volumes, because we know how so many great players that came before her scored points. And, you know, you can go on and on and on, from the Lisa Leslie, Shamiqua Holdsclaws, the Cheryl Swoops, you know, it's Candace Parker, so many great athletes. None of them scored 1,000 points in a single season. So this is just really phenomenal. And I think that she's the first to do it, but I definitely don't think she will be the last.
And here's the thing: you mentioned all those legendary names, and I thought it was going to be one of them whose record she broke. But the woman who had the record, I'm not trying to be funny, but I never heard of her. The woman who had the record before at 939 points was Jewel Lloyd of the Seattle Storm.
Yeah, when you said had the record before, I was about to say nobody's ever had this record, but I see what you mean. She broke the record for the most
she broke
points.
The scoring record, for most points. And I'm like,
she's the only one to ever score 1,000 points. But I see what you're saying. Correct. She broke Jewel's points. I got you. Yeah. I don't recall her. What team did she play for?
She played for, let me make sure I have it right here. It says here, let's get the article from the Real Times Media, the ADW. This is what it says. It says that last week, Wilson surpassed the previous single season scoring record of 939 points held by the Seattle Storm's Jewel Lloyd.
I think I know who that is.
Yeah, that's my fault. And they said that Lloyd actually did it in 2023. That was last year. I mean,
Yeah, I was about to say yeah, I know who that is.
okay, I'm not
Yeah.
sure what the disconnect is, but I had not. I guess again, and I'll admit it. Like many fans who have jumped on the bandwagon this year, I wasn't really paying as much attention this year to what was going on. So that's probably why it went over my head.
Yeah, I mean, but last year she scored, what do you say, 939 points, which don't get
Yep,
me wrong, it's still a lot.
it
But
is. Yep.
it's when you hit the 1,000,
Oh, that's
those
it.
are the marks that get celebrated.
Yep. That is
Yeah.
the
But yeah, Jewel is a
that.
great player.
And speaking of breaking records, another record was broken because it's been a record-setting season in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark, the lady who many people feel has been, responsible for the resurgence of the league, she broke the all-time scoring record for a rookie. She scored scored a total of 761 points. Hope I'm reading this right here. Let me make sure I got you don't want to give people inaccurate information, so let's make sure I have that right.
Yeah.
It says here on the same day that Wilson broke the all-time scoring record for most points in the season, hitting 1,000 points. It says that Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark cemented her place in WNBA history by breaking the rookie scoring record with 761 points, surpassing Hall of Famer Simone Augustus' previous mark of 744 points set in 2006. And
I'm not sure who that is.
yeah, I do remember her, kind of, maybe. But anyway, it's just interesting that, like you said, this record is being broken. Of course, we know that Angel Reese has done quite a bit with her number of double-doubles this year. And last but not least, of course, the biggest thing is the fan engagement, breaking every single WNBA fan attendance record ever. So, yeah, it's definitely been a year to remember for the ladies. And really, here's the crazy thing. It's almost like the WNBA kind of set the ball in motion, because I think that next year they're going to look back on 2024 and say that in sports, it really has been the year of the woman. I mean,
Yeah.
the performances we saw, women that we did not know about. And of course, you and I talked about this. The Olympics does that. The Olympics brings people to the forefront, but the Olympics are really dominated by the women.
Yeah, most of the gold medals were by women.
Yeah, just incredible. And it also brought to the forefront women in sports that you necessarily don't associate women with. For example, rugby. Certainly the United States, their performance, I think they got either a bronze or a silver. Of course, the ladies from New Zealand always do very well, and all over social media, the dominance of the women's team in New Zealand. I guess their pro team. These women are fast, they're strong, they're powerful, and they're not bad looking either on top of that. So it has really been a tremendous season for women in all sports. And even I think we had the first female to win the hammer throw competition for the United States. She was silver medal. And the United States did not medal at all in the hammer throw. So, yeah, it's just been must-see TV. And, of course, we know about the gymnastics with Simone Biles and the U.S. gymnastics team. The women's soccer team. Yeah, it's been you and your sister's been showing out.
Yes.
Just saying. So yeah, so big stuff there. So right now, speaking of the WNBA, final game of the season for the Dream. I do believe they may be out of the playoffs no matter what they do.
Yeah, I was just about to go over that. So while you're looking that up, I'm going to go over the standings. So right now in first place is the New York Liberty. Second place is the Minnesota Lynx. Third place, Connecticut Sun. Fourth place, the Las Vegas Aces. Fifth place is the Seattle Storm. Sixth place, guess what? The Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark.
Right.
Let me tell you, if you have not been paying attention to the WNBA, the Indiana Fever have been in last place or close to last place for at least about 3 or 4 years. So Caitlin Clark has turned that team around, and I say her because last year, when they got their first round draft pick, they still weren't doing well, but she has really changed things around, of course, with the help of her teammates, but she's mainly driving it. And in seventh place, we have the Phoenix Mercury. That's very new for them. They're usually at the top of the leader pack. Number 8, we have the Washington Mystics. Number 9, the Chicago Sky. That's difficult because they were competing for a national championship last year. And then in 10th place, we have our Atlanta Dream with a record of 13-25, which is the same record as the Chicago Sky. And then in 11th place, we have the Dallas Wings. And finally, 12th place, the Los Angeles Sparks. So those are the standings right now. And it's not looking good for our home team.
No, and really, it's too bad because the Dream were in it and had a shot. They had actually went and won, I think, 4 of 6 games, put themselves right smack in the middle of it, and but unfortunately, just have not been able to be consistent this year. That's really kind of been the problem with this team. They're inconsistency. But right now, they said we're not going out without a fight because a live update in the second half. The Dream defense has throttled the Chicago Sky. They're leading right now, midway through the third quarter, 48-36. They have total bottle up the Chicago Sky. So this is what has to happen. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the Liberty would have to beat the Washington Mystics. The Dream would have to win this game in order for the Dream, I believe, to sneak in on that final 8 spot. Let me go take a look at the standings again here. Let's go take a peek. Yeah, so according to the standings, right now, Washington, they're all 13-25.
Yeah,
according to the
Washington,
standings, right.
Chicago, and Atlanta.
So believe it or not, folks, if in fact the Dream win this game against the Sky and the Mystics lose against the Liberty, your Atlanta Dream will capture the 8th and final spot for postseason play. So everybody's going to be watching TV tonight, right?
It's interesting because I really didn't think they had a shot. So it's good that they still have a chance.
Yep.
That's why it's always good to win and keep winning. And because when you get in those ties, then never knows what happens with the tie break.
And the crazy thing is, Atlanta lost 2 games in overtime. Had they won either one of those games, it would be pretty much a shoo-in, especially the game they lost in overtime against the Mystics, because if they won that game, they would have had the
head-to-head.
Yep. But anyway, they are still in it. It's not over. They are still playing right now. Like I said, again, they have a 12-point lead over the Chicago Sky, the team that they are tied with right now, along with the Washington Mystics. So all of these teams, I cannot believe it comes down to these last 2 games. Liberty hosting the Mystics. Of course, the New York Liberty is one of the best teams in the league. I think you said they were ranked number 1 or number 2? Number one.
Number 1. Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, the 9th and 10th team squaring off here for all the marbles. It can't get any much better than that, guys. It cannot get any much better than that. So we'll stay tuned. They might have an ending before we get off the air. We don't know. But right now, like I said, again, the Dream still in it, hanging tight here with a 12-point lead over the Sky. Let's take a look at the update right now. And the lead is 50-39, 6 minutes to go in quarter number 3. Now, sadly, the Dream in their game against the Mystics, and the same thing happened against the Fever, they had a double-digit lead well into the 4th quarter and lost both of those games. So hopefully they can hang on and hang tight and pull out this victory and get themselves in the postseason play. I think it would be really phenomenal to see them get in there because they start. You know, here's the crazy thing. Do you realize that the Dream started off the season 4-2?
I do.
4-2, and since that point, they've only been able to win 9 more games for the whole season.
Right. But it doesn't matter how you start; it matters how you finish.
That is true, and they have been playing much better as of late. There's no doubt about it. And they have now increased the lead after a 3-pointer, 54-39. Lead is up to 15 points. About 5 minutes to go in quarter number 3. All right, what do you think? Your thoughts about these playoffs as we get ready to go? Do you think the Liberty, who have really been pretty dominant the whole season, do you think that they're going to be able to just kind of steamroll their way in, or who do you have as teams that could possibly upset them? Not upset them, but basically knock them off. Looking at maybe the top 5 teams. Well, anybody, right? Okay.
Any team. That's one thing about the WNBA and the playoffs. You can't just go with, oh, they're number 1, they're number 2. And the WNBA it's like football, any given Sunday, but any given day that you step on that court, because you definitely can get outplayed, and we've seen it time and time again where teams have gotten upset. So you can't take any team for granted. And once the playoff starts, it's a brand new season. And I think that all of the teams, especially at the top, but I do think that I see the Las Vegas Aces actually winning again. Yes, there's teams that are gunning for them, but we'll see what happens. I'm really excited. Who do you think are going to be the top teams to beat?
Yeah, I think the Aces, only because I think Asia Wilson is a woman on a mission. We saw as her individual play, she was very irritated. She didn't win the MVP last year, so she made sure that nobody's going to win it but her this year. And right now, if Tyrone was here, his favorite thing is, what have they done the last 10 games? Let's take a look. The top 4 seeds, here's how it looks right here. The New York Liberty have been 7-3 in their last 10. The hottest team has been the Minnesota Lynx. They were 9-1 in their last 10. Connecticut 6-4, but right behind them, the Aces, 8 of their last 10 games have been victories for them. So, yeah, I'm like you. I like the Aces to kind of pull them off, and I think that they're just going to ride Asia Wilson's back and say, "Hey, man, take us to the title."
Yeah.
So it should be very, very interesting. But yeah, I mean, the Liberty. I mean, I cannot believe when I'm looking here, the Liberty have only lost 7 games the entire season, 31-7. Not too
I like
shabby.
that record.
Yep, not too shabby. And Minnesota really right behind them. They've only lost 9 games. So, I mean, yeah, it's been, like you said, really some outstanding play, especially of the top 5 teams. But as you pointed out, the biggest thing is the fever. I mean, their turnaround was, and really, I know a lot of people have mirrored her to Larry Bird, but that's kind of what Larry Bird did. I mean, he came in, the Celtics were terrible. I know, I was in Boston then. They were terrible.
Yeah.
And in 1 year, he turned them on to a playoff team. And Ms. Clark has done the same thing after a rough start. She has, got this team rolling, and they're going to be very interesting to see in the playoffs. Question for you: do you have any idea how they do the seeding? Because I'm really not sure. Is it 1-8, 2-7? Do you know how they do it?
Yes.
Okay, that would be it. Okay.
That's the fair way to do it always.
Well,
To my
you never know.
understanding.
These
Well,
teams
that's true.
these leagues do some goofy things sometimes. So I was
That's
wondering. Hey,
true. So let me
top teams in the
not
bye.
just say yes.
Right.
Let me see. But I think that's how they've done it in the past. Well, just because they've done it in the past doesn't mean they're going to do it that way. So we'll see.
Right.
But
They got the tiebreak procedure there. We see
but that's
that.
typically how they do it, because I don't know, unless they're going to give the 1 and 2 a bye. I don't know, because they may give the 1 and 2 a bye and do the other teams. I don't know. I'll have to look and see. Let me not be so sure, because they did make a couple of changes from what they
Right.
used to do in the past. So
We never know. So
let me
yeah,
double check before I speak on that.
she said, hold it now, hold
Yeah.
it. She said, hold it.
Wait a minute.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. But before we do that, let's go to the scoreboard one more time and see if we have an update here in our game. Okay, games of interest for us local fans here. Number 1, let's go on the road and take a look at the Washington Mystics. They are down by 19, and their game is in the 4th quarter with about, let's see the time left. We got about 4 minutes left to go. So it looks like the Mystics, barring some type of miracle comeback, are going to lose their game. So the door is now wide open for the Atlanta Dream to get into the postseason. And meanwhile, let's go take a look at the Dream and see how they are standing right now. And survey said, here we go. 4:48 left to go in quarter number 3. The Dream still hold a double-digit lead, 54-41 over the Skies. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, the winner of that game will get the final seed for postseason. So, question is, can Atlanta hold on? And matter of fact, they've just now increased the lead with another 3-pointer. Atlanta up 56-41. About 4:45 left to go in quarter number 3. All right, guys, we're going to take a little break in the action. We'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Please don't go anywhere at all. Thank you, and thank you.
Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvisuallincoln.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
Coming up next, it's the Real Talk Sports Show, bringing you great sports talk with perspective. Now, here's our host, Jonathan Simmons.
We're back here, guys. Final segment here, the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm the Minister Jonathan Simmons. Right next to me, the lovely Ms. Tree Gomez in the building. Well, Tree, we got a little shakeup in college football. We might have a new big dog on the block.
It's not that we might, we do.
Huh? Tell the truth. All right, who's the big dog on the block now? No pun intended.
Texas.
Do you know what it is? The Texas Longhorns have surged to the front. Everybody came into the
They
season
said,
talking about
Georgia,
the
move
Bulldogs.
over.
Move over. And you know what? I'm surprised they haven't run the meme. If you remember, or may not remember, a couple of years ago, Georgia played Texas in a bowl game. And so they had two mascots come out. So they had Uga come out, the little bulldog. And when they brought out the Texas steer, he made a run at the bulldog. And the handlers had to jump back. Yeah, I think Texas ended up winning that game. But yeah, I'm sure they'll be showing that again. But yeah, I forget what they call him, Bevo or something like that. He was the big old Longhorn. He said, "Nah, man, you gotta get out of here, bro." And that's what Texas has done this season. Texas has passed the eye test. They've looked incredible.
They look phenomenal.
Matter of fact, I think they start off their season somewhere up north. I think.
No, that was game 2.
Okay. But they went up north and
But they demolished my Michigan Wolverines. Listen, I love my Michigan Wolverines, but we got a spanking at home.
At home in the big house.
At home. I mean, I was watching the game like really? Like seriously? Like come on. But I will tell you, even before the game started, I was concerned. And you want to know why I was concerned? Because when they were talking to our brand new head coach and they were asking him about the game, and you know what he said twice in an interview?
What's that?
I just want the guys to go out there and have fun. And when he said that, I said, have fun? Excuse me? Words you've never heard any great coach say.
Right. We come to win. Yeah,
these are not 5th and 6th grade boys where you're like, oh, you guys go out there and play hard. No, this is Michigan. We are the national champions. You don't say, oh, I want the guys to have fun. No, you want the guys to go out and dominate, and we have fun when we win. Because what happened on that field was not fun. And I can tell you, again, I pay attention to everything that people say. And when he said that, I was like, I hope he's not in the locker room giving his pregame speech like, all right, guys, let's go out there and have some fun. Because if that was his pregame speech, that would explain why we looked the way that we looked.
Yeah, that was a lackluster performance I've seen from Michigan in a long, long time. I'm not sure, again, what happened. Certainly he didn't have his teams ready to play, so that's it. Let's go to social media here. I believe we have some comments on social media.
Oh, yeah. I know they're ready to go in on me. Let's see. I know they're ready. Todd, we got to get you better music intro, preacher.
Well,
I love Todd.
Well, you know what to do, brother. You're the maestro. Doctor me up something and send it. Right.
He has all the great songs. I love my song, Todd. Thank you. Thank you, Todd. That was so sweet. I love my song.
Give us something, brother. We'll go ahead and we'll pop you on. We have no problem doing that. Give us some give us something to pop in there, and we'll do it. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, yeah. So yeah, let's go take a look at the standings here of the top. I guess we'll look at the top 10 teams here in the world of college football. Let's take a
Won't
look.
be
and see what we
Michigan
got.
anymore.
No, it sure won't. Unfortunately, let's take a look here. So number one overall, we already mentioned the Texas Longhorns. Number two, the Georgia Bulldogs, who really have not passed the eye test. They've looked okay. They've won all their games, but they have not looked, that great. The Ohio State Buckeyes in third place, and Alabama at number four. Ole Miss. Ole Miss is number five. Big shout out to my buddy Dexter Davis, whose son has transferred from the Air Force. He's now on that Ole Miss team. So Ole Miss has got a shot to be in the playoffs. Tennessee Volunteers, number six. Missouri, number seven. Miami at number 8. Oregon Ducks at number 9, and the Penn State Nittany Lions at number 10. USC and Utah nipping at their heels right behind them at 11 and 12. Yeah, so, obviously early in the season, everybody's undefeated, as you expect. But it really shows you the dominance of the SEC as we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the top 10 teams are from the SEC.
No, it does not show the dominance of the SEC. I'm not even going to sit here and listen to that. The season just started. So no, you come talk to me about the dominance of the SEC after the season has been going on. Then you could talk about dominance. But when you say the word dominance, that means you're dominating every team that you play. So you can't dominate at the beginning of the season when the season just started. You can say, yeah, the SEC is looking good right now because they have 6 teams in the top 10, but that's not dominating. Dominating is once you're close to the playoffs. Dominating is what Michigan did last year. Dominating is what Georgia did last year. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the season, when you've played all these great teams and you're still undefeated, that's dominating.
Okay, let's go to social media, see what Mr. Todd has to say again. Let's see.
Todd said tree. It pains me to say this. Michigan looks like in the rebuilding phase. You know what, Todd? But this is the thing. It pains me as well. But if you think about it, I kind of expected this. Not to be this bad, but we sent our head coach. He's gone. He's in the NFL. We had the highest number of players drafted by any school, which was 13 or 16 players that was drafted into the NFL. So a lot of our players left. Yes, we still have a couple of players that are still there. We have a new quarterback. Most of our team is new. And so I thought, yes, we would have to go through a little bit of a bumpy patch in the beginning, but I didn't think it was going to look this bad. Like it actually looks worse than even what I thought. But I agree. We are in a rebuilding phase because with as much manpower as we lost for great reasons, they all got elevated, they all got promoted, we still have to find our new gel and our new team. So I think that towards the middle and the end of the season, we definitely won't look how we're looking now, but I just think we have a lot of bumps and different things to get together and work out, but I do think it will get better as the season progresses. Todd said best team in the country is Northern Illinois. Really? Okay. They look better than Texas, Todd?
I think Todd is excited about the fact that Northern Illinois went on the road and knocked off the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So
yes. And they got paid, what is it, $1.3 million to do so?
Isn't that nice? Get a check and take a beat down. I'm surprised that they are not ranked. I don't see them in there. I'm not sure what the record was.
So this is the thing.
Yes.
As we know how the rankings go, yes, it's great when you beat a top school. And yes, that'll move you up the list. But what also matters are all of the teams before you on that list. So yes, I think they went out and they played great, which was phenomenal. But beating Notre Dame was astonishing. But I still don't think that would get them in the top 25 as of yet. And I let them go and beat another top team. And then you also have to look at their record of who they're playing and their schedule and all of that. So I'm not surprised that they're not in the top 25, but that would be why.
Okay, maybe I misread because I saw on their website they said they're number 23. So let me go back and look at this. Maybe my
Oh,
eyes
so
are
they are
bad.
in the top 25.
There they
That's
are.
shocking.
There they go. They're number 23 on it, and that would make sense because how could they not be in the top 25 and Notre Dame 17? Yeah,
Well, because I've seen that happen to schools
I
where
have. It's
schools
not right.
have beat a top like 15 school and they weren't in the top 25. I've seen it happen numerous times.
There we go. Well, let's go
They're
here.
actually number 23. So who's
23.
24 and 25?
24 and 25 are Illinois, who's undefeated at 3-0, and Texas A&M at 2-1. So you got them, and they bumped off because the week before Georgia Tech lost to Syracuse, Georgia Tech was 24, I believe. So they have been knocked off as well. But yeah, 24.
So Georgia Tech is no longer in there.
They're no longer. They're out. They said, "Get out of here, beat it, scram."
Oh,
Right.
See, that's interesting. I'm looking at it now.
Now Georgia Tech has a shot after this week to get back in, but they're going to have to go on the road and knock off a very good Louisville squad. So, but they have a shot to get back in there. Let's go back to social
see what
media.
it is, though.
You see it?
Because they're still 2-0.
Right.
Where most of the teams in the top 25 have played 3 games.
3 games.
They
That's
haven't
correct.
played
Yeah.
their 3rd game yet.
Right.
So there's a few teams in here that have played 2 games, but that's Ohio State, Penn State, USC. You know, they have a tougher schedule. So that makes sense. Okay. I can see it now. I want to see what it is after they play their 3rd game.
Right. Yeah, I know we rack them again after this weekend. We'll see what happens. I think Georgia may have a bye. They just played Kentucky. And that's why they're number 1, because they look terrible against Kentucky. I mean, they won the game. And for some reason, every single year, Georgia plays poorly against Kentucky. We're not sure what that is, but they just do. All right.
Yeah.
There's Todd coming in again, I believe.
I said, I miss beating up on Tyrone. Laugh out loud. Yeah. I miss you and Tyrone going back and forth.
Oh, no doubt. A big shout out to Tyrone. Once again, he is on the mic covering HBCU games for ESPN3. So big shout out to him as he continues to do that. And doing some public speaking going around. He called to a couple places. So big shout out to Tyrone and doing big things.
He's head coach of a women's football team, flag football team.
That's at Reinhardt College, right?
College here in Georgia, yes.
That's right. All right, guys, we're going to take one more quick break, and then we'll talk about what's been buzzing all over Atlanta. The Falcons. Yeah, that's right, the Falcons. We got to talk about them real quick. All right, guys, we're going to a break, and you're watching Real Talk Sports Show, so keep it locked right here for more. Don't go anywhere. Thank you, and thank you.
Hey, sports fans, tune in for live high school football Fridays, 7:30 p.m. on RealTalkSports.net. Check out your favorite Metro Atlanta teams as they do battle on the gridiron. It's your high school game of the week, live streaming free Friday nights on RealTalkSports.net. For more sports coverage and great sports talk, catch the Real Talk Sports Show Tuesdays, 8 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch. Brought to you by Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, a business giving back to their community. Give them a call at 678-364-3979 or check them out online at AllenVigilFord.net.
Looking for a vehicle? Come to Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We're a family-owned dealership that's been serving the Atlanta area for over 40 years, offering an unbeatable selection of new Fords, Lincolns, and pre-owned vehicles. Enjoy our exceptional customer service and great financing options tailored just for you. Visit us at 6790 Mount Zion Boulevard in Morrow, Georgia, located just 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta. Call us at 678-364-3979 or visit online at allenvigilford.net.
Ike Hilliard, wide receiver coach, Atlanta Falcons.
Coach, looking at this team, everybody's been talking about how high-powered it is, how many offensive weapons. What do you really do to reinforce the type of scheme that you guys are trying to run to be most effective for your players?
Say we're high-powered, huh?
That's what everybody says, yes, sir.
Looks good on paper right now. We have a lot of work to do.
Well, that was your warning, guys. I had a chance to go up there at the end of the OTAs and the initial practice, and that was wide receiver coach Ike Hilliard. And when I mentioned to him how explosive the Falcons offense was, he said, high powered, huh? As he tried to explain to us, you got to put it on the grass. And unfortunately, because the Falcons decided not to, run the risk of someone getting hurt in the preseason, their opening game, they looked very rusty, and Kirk looked very uncomfortable. So we saw the bad Kirk. But you got to play each and every game. And the Falcons did extremely well against the Philadelphia Eagles. And with some help by the Eagles, the Falcons found themselves with a victory. Let's go to social media.
I said, question, did Falcons win or did the Eagles give it away? Eagles defense coordinator seemed to not rush Kirk at all, not a priority, and he had all day to throw. He was in the pocket for a nice amount of time.
Yeah, and that final drive especially, I was stunned. I mean, they just were playing some type of odd prevent defense, and they just matriculated the ball on the field. It was kind of an odd thing. And Kirk says what?
He said, and Kirk was a statue.
He was.
But I give them credit. Falcons fought. They did. Actually,
I mean, you
can't take away from the Falcons. They fought. They played good. And they finished the game. That's what it's all about. But did I not tell you guys? What did I tell y'all about Kirk? What did I tell y'all? I told y'all he was that guy. I kept telling y'all. And everybody, he just came off of surgery and all this. And I wanted to see how it was healing. And then after the first game, it was just like, I keep telling y'all, Kirk Cousins is that guy. I wanted him to stay in Minnesota with the Vikings. I love Kirk Cousins. So I was excited when he came to the Falcons. I was like, oh, great. We have a great quarterback. So I've been telling y'all that he is that guy. And the more that he gets comfortable with these guys, you guys are going to see that I was right. Kirk is that guy.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's just, I think a lot of people were irritated, because of the fact that, you had a guy that was coming off from injury. You had a guy that, brought all these moving pieces in here, and people felt that, hey, man, at least let the guy get a couple of series to get some of the rust stuff off him. I mean, the Falcons were extremely confident that could be done and them still win a game against a Steelers team whose offense is not that good. But that was not the case. I mean, there's no doubt. If you watch the game, I mean, he looked terrible in that first game. The offense looked, not just him, but the whole team looked terrible.
Yeah, which you expect. I do. Because if you think about it, they don't play preseason really.
Right.
So a lot of times the first game of the season, that's their first game. I expect them to look not terrible, but I expect them to look nowhere near what they'll look like towards the middle and end of the season. And that's fine because we want them to work out all those kinks at the beginning. Because again, it's not how you start, especially in football. It's how you finish. There are teams that went undefeated, got to the Super Bowl and lost. Who cares if you go undefeated in regular season and you lose the big championship game? It doesn't matter. But there are teams who may go, lose the first few games and then they start winning look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when Tom Brady came. And remember how all of you guys were looking at me like I had 6 heads when I said, well, I think Tampa Bay, they're going to the Super Bowl. They'll be the first team to play the Super Bowl at home. And I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. And you remember how you guys looked at me like I was crazy, like Tree, really? And I was like, no, I understand that they started rough, but what did they do? They started fighting, finding their fittings and working and gelling towards the end of the season. And that's all that matters. So it doesn't matter what you do in the beginning. As long as when it's time to go to the playoffs, you start gelling and you win all of those games, those are the ones that count. That's why I'm not upset that my Lions lost. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not happy that we lost this game. But sometimes you need those losses in the beginning or the middle of the season so that you don't have to go towards the end. Because we're still going to the Super Bowl.
Listen, I got no arguments. Like you said, you correctly predicted Tampa Bay. So who am I to argue? All right, let's see what Todd's saying. He said, what?
I said, let's see this week, Tree. Are you talking about with the Falcons or are you talking about with my Lions?
I thought he's probably talking about the Falcons, I would think. Yeah, I mean, look,
Falcons?
at the end of the day,
Okay.
look, at the end of the day, the team in sports, sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. I mean, that's just the way it works. I mean, you had some strange calls by the Eagles. A lot of people get on that screen pass. They shouldn't have thrown that. The only thing bad about the screen pass is that if you drop it, you stop the clock. But as far as the play, I mean, Barkley would have had the first down and the game would have been over. So you can't really fault the Eagles coach for calling that play.
No, it was a great play. He was wide open.
Wide open. And
people are just saying that because he dropped it. Think about it. You don't plan on dropping the ball. But the play was a very smart play. He was literally wide open. So all he had to do was catch the ball and first down.
That's it. The game would have been over. Game over. You're correct.
But that's not what happened. So you can't. That's the thing that Ty said. Playoffs. Oh, you talking about my? Wait, you talking about my Lions in the playoffs?
No, he's talking about Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Listen, the Lions. It would take something really poor to happen for them not to reach the playoff. That team is solid.
Anybody to the playoffs.
Right. This team is solid, and this is a team that is a favorite to get to the Super Bowl. So this idea about he wasn't talking about your boys. Yeah, he means
he's talking about the Falcons. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Well, the Falcons, they have their first, which we've discussed before. They have their toughest matchup so far at the beginning of the season. And the fact that they were able to pull out a win, I think, is huge because that's one of the things that we were talking about. Their first 4 or 5 games, they needed to pull out at least 1 or 2 wins. And they pulled out 1, so we'll see what happens. But yes, they definitely have a tough schedule. But let me tell you, after watching the Saints and seeing how the Saints have been rolling, and I don't mean just rolling, but I mean rolling over.
Rolling.
Ooh, listen. That's
fourth highest.
That's going to be a game.
4th highest point total on the first 2 games in NFL history. Yeah,
They scored on every single possession.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if that's ever happened in the NFL before. Do you know if that's ever happened before?
I don't know, but you're talking 13 straight possessions scored something, either field goal or touchdown. The Saints scored. And oh, by the way,
every last one of them.
Right. A guy who everybody said was a mediocre quarterback. How about Derek Carr coming through and playing lights out, and Baker Mayfield, and both guys you can tell playing with huge chips on their shoulders. A lot of people felt that. Let's think about it. You think about what was on the bulletin board of Tampa Bay and New Orleans all summer. Falcons locked to win the South. South, one of the worst divisions in football. They had to deal with that all summer.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, it's going to be very, very interesting.
So we have the Chiefs and then the Saints.
Yep. Oh, yeah, and the Saints are going to be coming in here. I mean, regardless of what they do in their 3rd game, they're becoming to looking to make a statement because, like I said, again, everybody wrote them off. They don't like the Falcons anyway. So they want to come in here and beat the Falcons down in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And keep in mind, it's almost like a second home for them because you have so many New Orleans transplants here.
Fans here.
Right. A lot
of them. And it's crazy because the atmosphere, listen, out of all the games, that's the one where the teams hate each other the most.
Right.
The Saints and the Falcons.
And that going back many, many years.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what your record is before that game. Both teams come ready to attack when they play each other. So we'll see. I mean, I'm very impressed because the fact that the Falcons were able to do what they did towards the end of the game and to come away with a W in that short amount of time, to me, that really shows me a lot that I'm impressed at seeing with the Falcons. So I have to give you your props, Jonathan. You know I always talk about you, but it's time to give you your props. I am starting to see part of what you're seeing, not all of what you're seeing, but I'm seeing part of what you're seeing. But I did tell you, I do have high hopes for the team, especially knowing how great Kirk Cousins is. He's a really great quarterback, and we know that teams are built around their quarterbacks as well as defense. So they've made some moves to get some good defense. We have a good quarterback. So we'll see what happens. But I will tell you that I have higher hopes this year for the Falcons that I've had in the past.
Well, they should because, we talk a lot about Kirk Cousins, but we also have to look at other guys that had huge impact in this game. Number one, Matthew Judon got his first solo sack. I think it'll be one of many. He's going to be a double-digit sack guy. He split one with Grady last week. So he's always run 1.5 sacks in just 2 games. The other guy, my cousin by name only, Justin Simmons, played outstanding at the safety position. And, of course, the guy who did it for us last year, the defensive MVP for the Falcons, JB3, Jesse Bates III, closing it out with the big interception. So, yeah, their defense played well. And the other thing about the defense is it seems like they are really bent on being a bend but not break defense, because the realities are Philadelphia held the ball and so did Pittsburgh for a long time.
Yeah.
But in Pittsburgh case, no touchdowns. And in the case of Philadelphia, they stopped them on 4th down in Falcons territory and forced them to a field goal another time. So at the end of the day, this Falcons defense is one that, like you said, as they begin to know one another, begin to gel, they're going to be nothing nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing nice.
Which is really good.
Right.
I'm looking forward to it. So, but this schedule, Todd said Lions win it all over Houston. That's right. We winning it all, Todd. We going to New Orleans. You'll see that who blew out. You gonna think we in Detroit. It's gonna be so many of us in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, if that, no matter what Super Bowl is, Detroit, if they get a Super Bowl, it's gonna be crazy. I mean, because all those fans. When we get
the Super Bowl, we show up. Did you see how many people were in California? Do you all remember that Delta actually added a flight? Do you guys remember that? Where they added, actually a plane. They brought in a plane just for us Detroiters to make sure that we can get from Michigan to LA, which was genius. I'm telling you. And then, so when I hear people talk about Dallas, boo, cheaters, Cowboys being America's team, I'm like, no, did you guys forget? Like Detroit, we're the new America's team. Don't forget it.
Yeah, people definitely are excited about seeing those Lions. They are playing extremely well, an exciting brand of football. I think everybody loves the head coach as well. Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, they are a compelling story. So, and this is something Detroit fans have been waiting for a long time. So,
and it's something that you Falcon fans can learn from us because we are loyal. Even when our team had a record, because we lost every single game, we still came and cheered on our Lions, and we still was proud to cheer on our team and to wear our Lions gear. We were never ashamed of our team, even when they were the worst team in the NFL. We are true loyal fans. And now that we're winning and now that we have a lot to cheer about, it's even better, but we're loyal. That's the word that I want the Falcons fans to learn. Loyalty. It goes a long way. So all of you that have jumped on our Detroit Lion bandwagon, I welcome you. Some of us are like, no, stay off. No, I welcome you. Come on. Now you get to see how much fun we have rooting for our awesome, amazing team. But you'll hear us all talking about it. It's some of us fans who we've been fans many years back when we weren't so exciting to watch.
Yeah, it's been a long road for the Lions. They really had a run in the 90s when they had Barry Sanders, obviously. People thought that they were going to do more with Megatron, but they just didn't have enough team behind him and Stafford to do much. So this is something big to see them here.
Let's take a look. Was on one of the teams when we lost every game in the season.
Yeah,
he was on that team.
Tough. He surely was. That's right. He was a one-man wrecking crew, but just couldn't get enough to get over the top. Let's take a look at the standings. First here in the NFC. Well, we do have one rookie quarterback that's trying to mimic what C.J. Stroud did last year. We have the young gun from the Commanders. Commanders are 1-1 in the woeful East. They're 1-1. The Eagles are 1-1. The Cowboys are 1-1, even after they got shellacked by New Orleans. And the Giants, 0-2, have looked terrible. In the NFC West, the Seahawks, 2-0. Cardinals, 1-1. 49ers, 1-1. That's a team in trouble because they got a bunch of injuries. And the Rams, 0-2 to start everything off. NFC North, Vikings said, Kirk gone, we don't care. They've won their first 2 games and won them by decent margins. The Detroit Lions, we know they lost a tough one the other day, but they're still at 500. The Bears at 500 and the Packers at 500. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle for them without Jordan Love. And last but not least, the NFC South, the ridiculously balling out New Orleans Saints, 91 points in 2 games and only have allowed 29 points. They should have topped the NFC South. Buccaneers not too shabby themselves. They're 2-0. Falcons, fortunately, did win the game against the Eagles, so they are now 1-1. And the Panthers have benched their 2-year quarterback, second-year quarterback, and now also find themselves the laughing stock of the league at 0-2. But they just have played terribly. I mean, they just have been bad. Meanwhile, over the AFC, the Buffalo Bills 2-0. Patriots 1-1. Jets 1-1. Dolphins 1-1. I think they should make Tua retire, but that's another story. Your boy, Jim Harbaugh, got the Chargers out to a 2-0 start.
Yeah.
Defense looks dominant, only giving up 13 points in 2 games. Running attack, as we expect, has been strong. Battling with the Chiefs, also at 2-0. Raiders 1-1. Broncos 0-2. The Steelers, they're doing it with smoke and mirrors. They've won 2 games. Offense looks pretty poor, but that's okay. Defense is holding it down, only giving up 16 points with 2 games. The Browns, Deshaun Watson finally got them on a win at 1-1. Bengals shockingly 0-2, as well as the Ravens also 0-2. And last but not least, the NFC South. Well, that should be the NFC least. AFC, Texans 2-0. The other 3 teams, the Texans, the Titans, the Jaguars, and the Colts, none of them have won a game. They're all 0-2. So there you go, guys. That's our wrap up there from around the NFL. Like I said, Falcons fans are ecstatic. It would have been really bad here if the Falcons were 0-2 going into this game against the Chiefs. It would have been really not a happy situation.
I thought that was what's going to happen, so I'm
It
happy
looked like
that they spun it differently.
Yep.
But
So
speaking of
Falcons are in.
Tua, because
Yes,
you made a
ma'am.
comment about Tua that he should retire. Well,
Yep.
no, you didn't say that he should retire. You said they should make him retire.
Make him retire.
They can't make him retire.
I know they can't. I'm just saying, it's a shame they can't because he should.
It's not a shame. And I'll tell you why. Regardless of what we all feel, just how you have your life to make your own decisions, whether people agree or disagree, it's your life and you get to make those choices. So just like with Tua, it's not like back in the day when the players were not aware of the concussions and how damaging it was to their health. Every single football player that plays in the NFL, they know about concussions. They know how when they step on that field, how they're putting their lives on the line for their families. That's every game. That's not just Tua. That's every football player. My husband even talks about how he did that and he knew, but he didn't know about the concussion part of it. So now the concussions come into play, but Tua has to decide for himself and his family what he thinks is best for them, because as crazy as it sounds to most of us, which I'm included, I hope he does retire. I don't ever want to see him play another down in football ever again, because I would love to see him alive and healthy and having a great quality of life and be able to spend time with his family and loved ones. But regardless of what I want, he has to want it. Because if he doesn't want it, or even if he doesn't want it, if he doesn't feel the need to do it, he's going to be miserable. And so that's why it has to be his decision. But, I'm hoping that that's what he decides. I'm hoping that he watches the replay and they show him, look at what you look like. And
again,
you got lucky. Well, not lucky, but you were blessed because God was covering you. There's no such thing as luck. It's God blessing people. So you're blessed, right? But hopefully he will discuss that. He will look at it. The doctors will discuss it. And hopefully he chooses to have a better quality of life instead of continuing to put his life on the line, because I do think it's very serious, him stepping out on that field again.
Yeah, and the great irony of it all was that the hit that knocked him that way is a guy that actually experienced momentarily, basically did that on the field, Damar Hamlin. Which is so
Yeah, that
weird
was
that he was
scary.
involved in that hit, which is very, very weird. So I'm saying to myself, hey man, listen, you
Mhm.
know, you just don't want to see that happen. I mean, it's happened in high school games. Um, I think it happened at a college game maybe about 15, 20 years ago, but you really don't want to see someone die on the field. That's just not,
No.
you don't want to have that happen. But like I said, like you mentioned, it is a risky business. Just like people say, brother, you caught from NASCAR. Yeah, it was the same thing with NASCAR. You know, when I went to NASCAR race last Sunday, the accident that Larson had looked very bad because his car was hit like a pinball. It was on fire. Yeah, it was really, it
No.
was, oh yeah, Kyle Larson. Yeah, his number 5 car, he got hit, spun, hit again, and then the car was, like I said, it was like a pinball. Car was crushed in the front, on fire underneath. Oh yeah.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's okay. But I'm saying that's the thing about car racing. I mean, those
Yeah.
guys on 200 miles an hour, and
Yeah.
they actually show the guy, and the guy came out and says, "Hey man, we have rules. Said if you're in those last couple of laps, now this didn't happen with Larson, but it was a situation that happened with Bubba Wallace a couple of years ago, and it happened in a race earlier this year where a guy in the last lap actually was deliberately spun and wrecked, deliberately. Yeah, because there's a rule in NASCAR that when you're in those final laps, you can block a guy once. Like say the guy's trying to get underneath you, you can block him once. If the guy gets the edge on you and passes you again, you can't block him again. Because if you do, the rule is, unspoken rule, that driver can deliberately bump your car. And at that speed, when you get bumped on that corner, it spins you out.
Well, it not only spins him out, but it messes up all the other drivers too.
They don't care. That's the rule. If you block that guy for a second time.
I don't watch NASCAR.
Yeah, they don't play around. I mean,
I
unfortunately,
like Formula One because Formula One you can't hit people. You get penalized.
Right. Yeah, I mean you can't do it like NASCAR because open wheel racing and somebody in Formula One, those kind of accidents, you're probably not going to be able to survive it because you're an open cockpit car, and it's just nothing nice.
Well, you can't hit people anyway. Like the last race, the guy came over on the other guy and they crashed, and it was going to be second and third place, but he was trying to, I guess, get second and beat him. But they both got knocked out. So then the fourth and fifth place moves up to second and third place. But like I said, the person that fought, you're getting fined and you're getting in trouble. So I like that Formula One doesn't play that. Regardless of what's going on, even if you move too far to the right and you tap a car, you get penalized. So they don't want the crashes and everything with Formula One. And that's why I like watching it, because they do talk about safety. And I think safety is very important when you are in cars, like you said, that fast, plus it's open, and it's very dangerous.
It's much more dangerous in Formula One because it's an open wheel car. You don't have any enclosure on that top. I mean, so you flip a guy over, you can kill him. I mean, you can do it in NASCAR as well, but NASCAR, that's part of the I don't know if intrigue is not the right word, but that's part of the NASCAR appeal, is that these guys at those speeds have no problem. Not only have no problem bumping, but have no problem telling you, I did deliberately. No problem. Guys got to swing in. We got situations where guys were.
That like that guy was fighting.
Yeah.
I saw some clip where 2 players were fighting.
Oh yeah. I mean, these guys have gotten out and they've had to get the track official to separate them after the race. Guys hop out of the car. You see them running to the other guy's pit and they're trying to hold them back. Oh yeah, because the guy knows, hey man, you deliberately bumped me and wrecked my car. But they have they don't care. I mean, it's much, much, much more mundane now. But back in the day when I first started watching NASCAR, like when I was a kid, oh my gosh, that's what made me first start watching. I'm watching the race. Yeah, I'm watching the race. And all of a sudden they said, there's a fight in the infield. I mean, literally 2 guys, they both were on the infield. They said, forget this. They get out of the cars and they throw their helmets out and they were just duking it out right there on the infield. Right there in the infield. And back in the 70s and 80s, that would happen at least a couple of times a year where guys would say, okay, no problem. That at the end of the race, guys get out of the car and they start swinging. They're swinging. I mean, they're swinging like you and
Oh my
like you and
goodness.
stole something. Swinging, guys fighting. They don't care at all.
That's horrible.
Yep. But that again, that always has been the attraction with NASCAR is because the emotions are so raw and you're so close, especially like fans that are like in that pit area, the VIP. Oh, you look, it's on. Them guys, they're like, hey, we about to get into it right now. And it's almost like hockey. It's like an underdate. Nobody says, okay, well, then nobody steps in. Everybody kind of,
They just let them fight with hockey. I just think that's the craziest thing.
Yeah, and same thing in NASCAR. They let these guys, if there's a situation where everybody sees, hey, this guy bumped them, or he cut him off, or something happened, or he spun him out, everybody's kind of goes, well, they're gonna have to hash it out, and they let them just get in there, take the helmets off, and they're duking it out. Like I said, they don't do as much anymore, but back in the day, they were always fighting. They don't go twice for that. Yeah, and these guys, and they actually, back in the days when the cars were heavier, you would see racing. If you go and look at old clips of NASCAR, the guys are driving. You think about this. They're driving 150 miles an hour down the straightaway, and you can actually see the guys going like this, you dummy, and they're bang, 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 bang.
What? Oh,
150 miles an hour.
no.
Yep.
Oh, no.
And the fan, like I said, the fans love it because, I mean, again, first of all, I think because they were back then, they were basically like the same cars you drove, and back in the 70s, the cars were made of metal. I mean, they're doing the crumpling. So people were aware that for the most part, nobody was really getting killed hardly at all from that kind of activity. Usually, a guy got killed from something else. Nobody bumped him. He just, like you said, hit the slick or they hit a bank wrong, and that was it. But yeah, that was the excitement. And the guys, and you see them after the finish line, the guys are swearing, they're pointing outside the window. You bumped me. And the crowd, it's like wrestling. Everybody's going wild. It's crazy. Yeah, but anyway. All right, we're about to wrap it up. We'll get one more comment here from social media. I think Todd was saying something about you bragging about your lines. He said, okay.
He said, Tree, let's stay humble, laugh out loud. You're right, Todd. Todd, you're right. I concur. I agree. Let me stay humble because I think I jinxed my Lions when we were playing against Tampa Bay because I called one of my friends from Tampa Bay and I was talking big time junk. You hear me?
Talking trash.
Big time. And normally I don't do that. Normally I wait until after the game and then I talk my trash. But this time before the game, I was talking big time junk. And so then when I was looking at the game, and I was like, ooh, I should have waited till after the game. And then when we lost, then my friend was teasing me like, yeah, you're right. I should have been ready for that butt whooping that y'all gave us. I was like, yeah, I deserve it. So you're right, Todd. Thank you. Thank you, Todd. You're right. I need to stay humble. I'm just so excited about my Lions. And you know, it really makes me excited because every single announcer picked the Lions to win just like I did. And so I'm just excited to see that the world is excited about my Lions, just as excited as I am. And so I got a little ahead of myself, but thank you, Todd, for bringing me back down. You brought me back down. So you're right. I will stay humble. Thank you. But I'm still saying that we're going to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to stop saying that. We're
not backing off on that, boys, just to let you know. Yes. Well, look, speaking of not backing off, we never, at least we try not to, let our co-hosts or guests get off this show without you guys finding out more about who they are and how you can follow them on social media or website. So, you know how we do it. Ms. Tree Dolman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching Real Talk Sports. You can find me on social media at Purple Diva 13.
There you go. The Queen has spoken. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here with you. You can see I got the green screen here. That's kind of fake. But what's not fake is how much the Lord Jesus Christ loves you. So if you don't know him and you don't have him as your personal savior, I want to implore you, please, man, please, sir, get to do it today. Nobody loves you like Jesus. He's the one that came here and died for you. But more importantly, he rose from the dead. So here's what happens. If you repent of your sin and believe in him, two great things happen. Number one, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number two, you become an adopted child of God with all the rights therein. That means you can now go to God like a heavenly parent, ask him for anything that you need or desire, and according to his will, he'll give it to you. But number two, when you die, you go to that happy place called heaven, where there's none of the following: no pain, no pandemic, no bad people anywhere. You never get old, you never die, you never cry, because it's always beautiful in the city called heaven. And you now can see God and mighty Yahashua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, and all the people of love face to face. That's right. So you got to ask God a question, you can ask him because he'll be right there. And you avoid that nasty place called hell. All the things I just mentioned that are in heaven won't be in hell. It's dark, it's dreary, it's horrible, it's fiery, and you're trapped with the devil and all the most evil people ever created on the earth. I don't know about you, but I like option number 1 instead of option number 2 much better. All right, everybody, until the next time we get back together again. We say as we always do. God bless you and have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, whichever may apply. So long and take care.